a breath together and center and really be here. I'm here on the platform this morning to welcome you, everybody that's here and everybody that's online. And part of this welcoming is a reminder that if you don't have your cell phones on silent already, please do that so that we can all be really here together with each other. So our introductions this morning, our speaker this morning is Craig Stephen Phillips, and we're looking forward to the beautiful transmission today. So good to be with you. Our musical guest is Susan K. Wyatt. We're so happy to welcome you back. Craig will be leading a meditation intensive on August 21st from 1 to 4 right here in our sanctuary. This will be a wonderful opportunity to experience the deep stillness Craig brings in a longer format than we get in the half hour and during his Tao Tribe. Stay tuned for more details and mark your calendars. More from Craig is offering his Tao Tribe meditation to the sanctuary and on Zoom starting Wednesday, July 27th at 7:30 p.m. It will be wonderful to have this gathering in residence on campus, so it'll be fully hybrid. A note about our recycling, which we've been having going on campus for several years now, per the request of waste management, and because it's proper ecological stewardship, we're ramping up our recycling efforts. So far, Marco has been hand sorting because maybe the containers haven't been really carefully labeled, but he ends up sorting the recyclables in different categories. So we will be, there's been a considerable diversion between recycling and stuff that can't be recycled. So we will be providing additional containers with instructions on what to throw away and where in the next few weeks. And your participation in this process will be very appreciated. I have bookmarks from one of the service groups, one of the spirit groups. There's been at least one copy made for everybody in the congregation. If you haven't gotten yours, look for it on the table to the right and outside. And if you're online, it'll be an excuse to make it on campus to pick up this precious item. We have an annual barbecue coming up next week. After church on July 24th, there'll be hamburgers, hot dogs, brats, and veggie burgers prepared by Mutz. And members of the community will have signed up to bring salads and lots of other items. If you'd like to participate and bring some items too, sign up so we know what to expect. We'll have bingo, musical chairs, and lots of other fun and games. Sign-up sheets are in the back over on the table just to the right as you go out the door. And also, you can sign up if you'd like to participate in making it all happen. There'll be lots of volunteers. The theme is a luau, so put on your Hawaiian shirts and grass skirts, and have a really fun summertime events. Join your friends on the lawn for a wonderful time. And with that, I'm going to look up. Got lots of papers here. Going to hand the mic over to Susan K. Wyatt, who is going to sing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bonnie Gosling. Good morning.
My name is Bonnie Gosline, and I am a prayer chaplain here at Unity of Tustin, and it is my honor and pleasure to open this service by lighting the Christ candle and by reading the daily word. So I will light the Christ candle. Let this flame that is lit at this very moment be the hope and trust in the hearts of everyone here and everyone that is online, that this day is a holy day, that every day can be a holy day. Let us start it that way. We give grace and thanks to God. The Daily Word, Sunday, July 17th, and our word is trust. I place my trust in God. From Isaiah 26:4, trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord God you have an everlasting rock. Few things are a greater comfort than deep and abiding trust in God. When I trust, I move more confidently through life. I feel the wind at my back, and I am strong in the face of adversity. In the past, I may have felt disappointed when I misplaced my trust. The things of the world are impermanent. Even people come and go. The truth of God as the one presence and power in the universe, and as my life is everlasting, unchanged and unchanging through all the seasons of life. Even as I grow, evolve, and deepen in spiritual understanding, God is always my source, the inspiration I return to again and again. My freedom to seek and discover lies in the awareness that I can always trust in God. I place my trust in God. Please say that with me. I place my trust in God. Thank you.
I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. I'm standing on the edge of something much too deep. It's funny how we feel so much, but we can't say a word. We're screaming inside, but we can't be heard. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. So afraid to love you, more afraid to lose. Caught up in a life that wouldn't let me choose. It once was darkness, a deep and endless night. You gave me everything you had. You gave me life. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. Weep not for the memories.
Let's go ahead and close our eyes for a moment. Just feel into the silence today. If you listen, the silence is here. As we come to pray today, let there be a little shift from listening to the voice in your head, perhaps even thinking that the voice in your head is who you are. And let your mind be absorbed instead in the silence that is in this beautiful sanctuary. Listen. That's the prayer. The wordless prayer. Silence. Father, Mother God, flowing Tao, eternal silence. In this eternal now moment, we come home again to your silent presence and to who you are, which is only in this moment, the now and everything in between. In remembering you, we remember that the gift of this life is not forever, but only a brief stopover where we are invited every day to appreciate the gifts of this moment and remember that our true home is in you. Now, always, right here.
A man is placed upon the steps, a baby cries, and high above you can hear the church bells start to ring. And the heaviness, oh, it settles in. Somewhere you can hear a mother sing. Then it's one foot, then the other, as you step out on the road. Step out on the road. How much weight, how much weight. Then it's how long and how far and how many times. Oh, before it's too late. Calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk walk me through this one. Don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Oh, and every day you gaze upon the sunset with such love and intensity. Why, it's almost as if you could only crack the code, you'd finally understand what this all means. Ah, but if you could, do you think you would? Trading all the pain and suffering. Ah, but then you would have missed the beauty of the light upon this earth and the sweetness of the living. Calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this one. Don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this one. Don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, we're hurting, we're loving, we're crying, we're calling, but we're not sure how this goes.
Let's close our eyes again as we come to meditation. Meditation that's happening right now, just this. Get a sense that just this, as it is enough. Calling all angels. That would be all of you. Or in the tradition I come from, bodhisattvas. Those of you that are moving in the world with compassion, moving in a way that serves others just through your example, bringing them from their suffering, all beings, to the light. As we come to meditation today, let's listen to these words from the great sage Ramana Maharshi, who passed away in the late 1950s. There is a state where words cease and silence prevails. Spoken lectures are not so eloquent as silence. Silence is unceasing eloquence. It is the best language. Silence is the supreme peace, unmoving like a rock. It supports all movement, in fact, all of your activities. It is in this silence that God is found. Fixed in silence in the inner I am, you can be as you are. The world will never perturb you if you are established in the tranquility within. Just listen. Is the silence here? Look for yourself. Listen as if with the entire field of your body, every cell in your body, to the silence that is present here. Let your mind be absorbed in that silence. And notice as you do this that the body becomes very, very still on its own. We can rest here. It's okay to rest here. Even the sounds are coming out of the silence. Sound of laughter now, the phone. That person whose phone went off, probably their mind was reacting, oh no, I forgot to turn that off. Even thought is arising out of this deeper silence. Notice that this morning. You don't need to subjugate or get rid of your mind. Just simply see that your thoughts are arising in and around and because of that silence. Everything that has its beingness because of spacious silence. Notice. Traditionally, the focus of meditation, at least in the tradition that I practice, is the breath. Let's come to the breath for a moment as we listen. Breathe open. Feel how good it feels to breathe. What did we do to deserve this gift of the breath? As you breathe out, let go into the deeper silence. Feel the breath flowing into the body from silence. The out-breath flowing out into silence. The breath, the silent mantra. Present here, now. In this silence, the spiritual dimension opens up very, very easily. As we continue to listen, I invite everybody that wishes to bring your right palm up over your heart, right over the center of your chest. Making contact with the heart, let's let our awareness flow into this area of our body as we listen. Offer your heart to the silence this morning, to the presence that's here. And feel now that you have an opening in the middle of your chest. You can draw this breath, this silent mantra, right into the heart as loving kindness for yourself. Breathe it in. Nothing to fix or change today. Loving kindness for who you are right now. As you breathe out, feel that loving kindness flowing from your heart through the entire field of your being. Ah. And as you draw your next in-breath, feel that your breath is also infused with a great compassion for yourself. Breathe compassion into your heart for you. As many of you have heard me say, compassion for me is the knowing that at this moment I am doing the best that I can, given my level of awareness. Breathe that kind of compassion for yourself. As you breathe out, feel that compassion flowing through the entire field of your being from your heart. And finally, let's get a sense that our breath is infused with a great gratitude. Breathe gratitude in your heart, into the heart, for this silence, for this presence that you are, that is around you and within you as you. Fall on your knees within to this silence today with gratitude. What else could we want? Everything is available right now. Get a sense that this moment, as it is enough. Because that is the fruit of meditation. The singing bowl went on and on. I thought, well, maybe we'll just listen to the singing bowl for the next 20 minutes, and that will be a pretty good service. Not quite silence, but coming out of the silence, as Ramana says, right? Nothing more eloquent than silence. This silence is the presence of God. People think, I don't know, what is God? Get still, be quiet, right? Even the sound of the phone going off, everything is arising from that silence. I invite you for the rest of the time that I'm going to be speaking to stay with that. Stay in meditation. You can do that and listen to me. If you just keep noticing, the silence doesn't go anywhere. This is true whether you're in the sanctuary or you're outside. It's always here. It's always present around you and within you. We just forget. There's a lot of noise going on in the mind, usually. When that noise just gets a little soft, we realize that those thoughts are coming out of the silence, surrounded by silence. You might begin to notice that. Is what the mind is saying to us really that important? Look and see. Recently, we're at an SMT meeting, and we went into a very deep meditation together, and it went on for a while. And Blair said to me jokingly after, he said, maybe you'll do this on a Sunday someday. Maybe you'll go into meditation and nothing else will be said. He said, that would be pretty good. I said, maybe so. It's really not the words. We can stay with the silence as we listen to the words. Just notice. So, This silence is where we come from. This silence is present through our life, and this silence is where we will return one fine day. I wrote a blog this week about how coming into the world is a little bit like finding ourselves on a train, and suddenly we're dropped off at the station. As we're dropped off, we're not giving any blueprint or directions on how to live our life. And there we are on the platform. Everything is moving. The train takes off. The only thing that we know when we get off the train, somewhere inside we know that that train is going to circle around the track and going to pick us up one day. That is for sure. As many of you have heard me say before, I try to speak about Dharma, which is truth, not beliefs. One of the truths that we can look at for ourselves, if we're willing, is that our time here on this earth is finite and temporary. The train's coming. Do you hear the whistle? Good reminder, right? Maybe every day when you wake up you can go, woo, yeah, I hear that. Okay, be present. Let's remember what my life, my precious life is for while I have the chance. So we come in, we get off, we're on the platform, and you know, what happens to us is that the people on the platform begin to condition us and tell us what our life is for. Our parents, our teachers, society. And generally this has to do with, well, you'll be happy later when you get the job you need, or you go to school, or you get the relationship that fulfills you. It's all down the line. And when that happens, then you'll remember why you're here. Right? Many of us know this is true. And so we wander. And what happens is that pretty soon we forget the train. We don't even want to think about that it's coming back for us. And who knows when, right? It's another great adventure about life. Luckily, we do not know when the train's pulling into the station and we give our ticket to go home, thankfully. Thankfully. So, we try to fulfill ourselves. We move around in the world and we do the things that our parents have told us to do and how we've been conditioned, and on and on and on we go. Until one day, and this part I'm going to read from Lao Tzu. For those of you that may be new to my talks, Lao Tzu, the great sage of Taoism, 2,600 years ago he wrote this. My goodness, about what I'm talking about today. Listen deeply. This is one of those verses for me. Everything is here. If all I did was take this one verse and read it for the rest of my life, there'd be enough spiritual teaching right there. Right? We don't need 10 volumes. Sometimes all we need is 10 words. And then from 10 words, 10 breaths. And then the breath you're taking now. Feel it. Here's what Lao Tzu says about this. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, free, light, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. It seems disrespectful to even speak after that verse. It's so profound, isn't it? Did you hear that? Everything that I've been speaking about and will speak about is right there in those 3 stanzas. Let your heart be at peace, Lao Tzu says, as you watch the turmoil of beings. All of you know that as you watch your families, as you watch the people around you. I won't even speak about the collective we see on the news. Turmoil, isn't it? Turmoil, chaos. Lao Tzu says, contemplate their return. As you watch the turmoil in the people's lives around you, and yes, the turmoil in your own life, take a moment to take a breath and contemplate where you're returning to shortly. Let your life relax back into the source that you came from and will go home to, the Tao. The Tao that is breathing you right now, the Tao that is living you right now, the Tao that is unfolding your life, beating your heart, dividing your cells without you having to do anything. Rest in that. As we watch the turmoil of the world, we can contemplate deeply these words that every person on this planet is on the homeward journey. Every step you take is taking you there. Every step. Tick, 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 tick. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Isn't it true? Boy, I tell you, as I get older, I really know this is true. As I see loved ones, dear ones, friends passing, going through illness, the reminder is, this is not your permanent home. What are you doing with your time right now? How are you living your life now, this precious life? And Lao Tzu tells us that returning to the source is serenity. Going home to God, don't we all get a sense of that, really? If you move beyond your fear about what the unknown is, there's the known that, laying down the burden, right? I find it exciting. But I don't find it exciting to the point that I'm not ready to live my life fully present here and now. In fact, this knowing that the train is coming for me, it wakes me up every day. Live your precious life. Be present. What's it for? Every being that you know, all of us will return to the common source. Yeah. These are my 2 favorite lines of the stanza, and maybe my favorite 2 lines in the Tao Te Ching, and that's saying a lot. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. Don't we all know that that's true? When we lose touch with what we know is true inside, when we lose touch with our spiritual path, with this connection with the flow, man, do I stumble in confusion and sorrow. I get lost in the world of the mind. I call it the worldly mind. Going, doing, being, having, trying to sort it out, trying to figure it out, trying to get it to hold still for just a moment. Confusion and sorrow, we stumble when we do not realize and remember where we come from. and remember the source that is living you right now. It's that simple. If you look at what I'm saying today, what Lao Tzu has said, when you're feeling confused and sorrow and depressed and sad, it's only because you've forgotten for that moment who you are. You've moved away from the source of your life and you're completely lost in the world, right? Some problem or something that's going to happen to you later. Something somebody said to you 5 years ago that doesn't even matter now. Oh, I remember what they said at the Thanksgiving table. I'm never eating with them again. Right? We've all been there. This is the way we, may I use the word, squander our lives. Right? Lao Tzu goes on to say, just when you're immersed in the wonder of the Tao, which is to remember the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. We can't deal with life when we're cut off from the source. The energy that is living us, it's impossible. But when we are cut off and we feel cut off, that suffering generally brings us back to the source, doesn't it? I know that's the case for me. Over and over, my life was filled with suffering. I'd be on my knees. Oh, I'll never give up meditation this time. I'll never forget you this time, you know. And then there'd be a little more suffering, and then, you know, that period of suffering, that oscillation back and forth, it lessened and lessened as I just learned to stay in the Tao. I learned to stay with my practices and stay with the connection. Because I knew that when I didn't do that, oh, did I stumble in confusion and sorrow. Isn't that simple? To me, Lao Tzu gives us the secret right here. Just keep looking in your own life. Keep noticing. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you, and when death comes, you are ready. Can you imagine? Yeah. Because it is coming. And you know, I say this not as a downer. It's not to be depressed. It's just as a reminder, right? The Buddha said that this contemplation we're doing today is the greatest teacher because it reminds you that your precious life is finite. It wakes you up to the fact that you do not have forever. How are you spending your time now? What are you doing with your life now? Right? All of us in the sanctuary have been fortunate enough, most of us, I would say. I won't speak for you, but it seems that we have been fortunate enough to come to a spiritual teaching. When we get off the train and we're wandering in confusion and sorrow, I know this was my story, and luckily it happened when I was fairly young. A spiritual teaching came. It was like a life raft had been thrown from the Tao. Boy, you are drowning. Here's a life raft. Certain teachings and teachers came. Even the teachers that disappointed me or ended up being maybe not true taught me something. Everything became a teaching. And luckily the teaching came, and the first thing that I was reminded of is, hey, this is not forever. This is impermanent. So the second teaching was, what are you going to do with the time that you've been given in this precious life? How will you use your time rather than having time use you? What will you do? And the teaching was there. If you continue to look in the world for what you're looking for, if you continue to walk the path of thinking that happiness will be found somewhere out there, you will suffer. And you'll have the ability to suffer right till your last breath. Who knows? Maybe we pick it up again, right? We come back, oh, more suffering, right? And then we go to the end, and then we pick it up again, and man, and now we're on the 30th, and we're just trudging along going, oh man, this is really getting heavy. And then the spiritual teaching is like a lightning bolt. Now we want the Tao more than we want the worldly stuff. The Buddha said that the wonderful thing about this contemplation is that once we begin to live this, life becomes so much sweeter. When you're looking for life to give you something that it can't, it's completely unfulfilling. But when you realize that life cannot give you anything, life becomes very sweet. You become very present. And then you enjoy everything that comes to you in the present moment. Like it's fresh and new. You're like a child. Isn't that what Jesus said? Nobody can know, Jesus said, what I'm talking about unless you are like a little child. Innocent, open. Have you watched a child? I watched my little grandson. Oh my goodness. One moment he's crying, the next moment he's filled with joy, he's taking it all in. If you've ever been around a Zen master, they live this way. They're not childish, they're childlike. Everything is fresh and new, and they're enjoying it. And just the breath, everything. Imagine being, the breath, there it is. Thich Nhat Hanh. Can you imagine? He didn't say it like this, but he's walking around breathing, just feeling, oh, my life is so ecstatic, I'm breathing. And he would tell everybody, breathe. Just breathe. There's your joy. The mind will tell you, no, that might be good for Thich Nhat Hanh who's a monk, but, I know that a better job will do it for me, a juicier relationship. Listen, I've said this before, but here's a great secret. For those of you, it takes a real looking inside at the truth to know this. I know that all of you know this. You just may not have accepted it yet. Nothing in the world is going to satisfy you. Can you breathe it in? I guarantee you that if you go to any teacher, any book, the basic teaching is going to tell you this. No relationship, nothing. They don't say some things. Nothing outside will satisfy you for very long. And you will suffer again. You'll suffer because you are cut off from the source of joy and peace and love, which is here. Only here. We can know this in an instant. We don't have to wait till the train comes back. That's the point of this teaching today. We can start to really move and enjoy life in a way that we breathe it in, but we don't expect it to give us anything that we don't already have for ourselves. To me, that's being spiritually mature. I used to be really spiritually immature. I even thought that certain gurus and teachers and techniques would bring this to me. It does not. This is an inner journey for all of us. We are the only authority that can give ourselves this. And you can have it if you are with your next breath. Are you present? Are you here? Not thinking intellectually, am I here? Not hoping that it will be an intellectual process that you can claim for yourself and then take credit for. That has to be let go of. There's no such person at the end of the day that's going to be able to be there to take credit for it and say, oh, look at me now, I'm enlightened. And let me tell you about it. Come, sit, and I'll give you the secret, right? No. When we drop all of that and we realize simply that what we are looking for is looking through our eyes, that this presence we are, that is our aliveness in our body, is already with us. Joy is found. Peace is found. Light is found. Now, now, now. Where else do we expect to find this? in the next thing, the next teaching? What is it? As it says in the great Zen question, if not now, when? When? When we die? That's a big assumption. You know, and that's the waiting game that we can get into. Well, my life is dreadful right now. You know, I'll just pray and I'll be very, very, oh, woe is me. But I know that the afterlife will be better. Don't assume that. Don't assume. That's a belief, by the way. As I've always invite all of you to see, there is a big difference between belief and truth. Dharma is truth. It is undeniable. Like if I say the truth, the Dharma right now, that there is only now, there is only this right now. If all of you go deep inside, you will be able to know for yourself, not as a belief, yes, there is only now. This future that we're waiting for, even the future where we go to a better afterlife, that is an illusion. There is only now, and what we are looking for is now. And then when the day comes where the train has come back and it pulls into the station, as Lao Tzu says, when it comes, we're ready. We've lived a full life. We know that there's nothing to fear, that the step onto the train is a step into the now. Here's what I know about leaving the body. It will still be now, eternally present. Not as a concept, as a presence. And we're ready. We're ready for that train to come joyfully. So there's a poem that I brought today that, again, sums up everything that, I love the phone because I don't need to make notes. And some of you have heard this, this poem before. It's by Mary Oliver. And like Lao Tzu's teaching, it sums everything up in just a few lines. This teaching of remembering the eternal now and remembering where our home is, our true home. Our true home is now. Our true home is not in this body. It is not this temporal world. Contemplate that every day, as Lao Tzu says. Remember where you come from and see how it transforms your life. We get caught up in so much pettiness. Pretty much as we get older, we will discover that everything we thought was important really wasn't that important. Most of you know this already. Probably 98%. Eckhart Tolle says 99% of what you think about and think is important is nonsense. What we don't think is important and can wait is really what actually becomes very, very important for many people. We get the truth of that. There's no delay. Why delay? Why delay? So let's listen to this this poem. You can close your eyes and then we'll do a little breathing together as we contemplate these words. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is, I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Settle into the question for a moment. From now, what do you want from your life? What are you going to do with this moment you've been given? And then the master said, do you remember who you are?
Thank you, Craig. I'm going to get ready because the train's coming. I was making a list. Oh, dear. I'd like to welcome all the visitors for the first time here at Unity of Tustin. If you would raise your hand so that we can welcome you. We have a welcome packet for you. Any newcomers? Ah, there's one right there. Thank you so much for being here. Unity of Tustin is an inclusive community. All faiths, all sexual orientations, and all souls are welcome here at all times. So now it's time to give money. We call that the love offering. And so, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking abundance, all right? So here in this community, I think we have an abundance that may be unknown in other parts of the world. And so to provide this community to grow, to share, to help us remember who we are, for the music, Craig's talk, for our grounds and the beautiful things that go on here throughout the week, we ask that you give of your abundance as you can and as it feels right for you. And you have a couple opportunities. You can give right here with the basket today. If you're in present moment, those of you online can click the donation button, and we have the website, and there's also an electronic kiosk on the grounds just outside the door, I'm told. So as the ushers come forward to collect the offering, let us say the love offering affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now as these ushers come forward, Susan K. Wyatt has another gift of song for us.
Maybe it was to learn how to live, or maybe it was for the games we played. Maybe it was to learn how to choose. Maybe it was to learn how to lose, or maybe it was for the love we made. Love is everything they said it would be. Love made sweet and sad the same. Love forgot to make me too blind to see. You're chickening out, aren't you? You're banging on the beach like an old tin drum. I can't wait for you to make the whole kingdom come, so I'm leaving. Maybe it was to learn how to fight. Maybe it was for the lessons in pride. Or maybe it was just nature's way. Maybe it was to learn not to lie. Maybe it was to learn how to cry. Or maybe it was just the love we made. 'Cause love is everything they said it would be. Love makes sweet and sad the same. But love forgot to make me too blind to see. You're chickening out, aren't you? You're banging on the beach like an old tin drum. I can't wait for you to make the whole kingdom come, so I'm leaving. First I turn to you, then I turn away, then you try to hurt me, but it breaks your body down. Then you try to love bigger, better still, but it's just too late. So take a lesson from this strangeness you feel, and know you'll never be the same. And find it in your heart to kneel down and say, I gave my love, didn't I? And I gave it big sometimes, and I gave it in my own sweet time. I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving. That's right.
Thank you so much, Susan, and Carol is our accompaniment, so thank you as well. The ushers come forward. We bless these offerings as symbols of our devotion to the mission of unity of Tustin. We have many paths, one God. Thank you for joining us always. Please join us at Hospitality. The bookstore is open, and prayer chaplains, like myself, are at the entrance of the garden. We can pray with you. We have Reiki practitioners as well, and remember to join us at Hospitality. And now please join me in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Amen. Thank you.